what just happened is going to go to my conversation we're going to have today, which is why things sort of went the way they went there. Give me one moment. All right, Sam, sit down.
What?
Sit down. Carter, go back over.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Brovicast.
Leave your stuff there. Go back over.
Thank you. Sharing's caring. How does that apply to anything you're sharing?
It doesn't.
Very kind. Chris went.
Trying to not be grumpy, but we'll do my best. Today, one, is our last time together. Yes, you are correct. We get together tomorrow for a moment, but it's not the same thing. Kid who likes to yell at me. You will be in here for all of a moment tomorrow, and then we head down to our award ceremony from there. So you will see me, but we don't have class. It'll only be in here for a moment, and that will be it. Today is different than all of the previous ones that sort of led up to it. You're going to notice as I talk, I'm probably going to struggle more today than I do normally when I teach. When I'm looking down, it's because I have notes that I had to write out for myself. Part of it is I have an hour and a half's worth of conversation, and I only get to talk to you guys for like 25 minutes. So that's why I also record every class is a little bit different, because I tailor it towards that particular group of kids and sort of shift things from there. Let's go with a couple things with you guys. One, my whole goal for this year was leading up to today. And sort of, I know that English is not the most important thing in the world. And so I teach because I want to make you guys better people. It's why I do the job that I do. And it's not to spread English throughout the world. It's because I want you guys to become better versions of who you are. I just use English to do that. And I want today's conversation to have weight to it, meaning I want it to have meaning, which is why I spent the previous 3 days telling you stories about my background and my life and what made me who I am. I did that to earn your trust, so that you would understand where I was coming from. I don't think you can be honest with someone until you share with them. And I wanted to share with you the things that were painful in my life, my 3 darkest moments, so that I could try to have today have the proper weight as I go through and talk with you guys. Years ago when I was teaching, and I had those kids come back and talk to me, 8th graders and stuff, and high school kids, I realized my teaching was not about English, and that a lot of what I was doing was about making people become better versions of themselves, better versions of who they are in one form or another. And part of the kids coming back and talking to me, and it's also why I told Mrs. Butts I thought she should have a talk with you guys today also, is most of my students who come back and talk to me told me that it is the summer between 7th and 8th grade when they become aware of some of the awful things that are going on in the world. A lot of you guys have been, I wouldn't say innocent, but let's say you might be unaware of some of the awful things that are happening to kids around you. And you've gone to this point in your life without having to really think about it or worry about it. This summer for some of you, beginning of 8th grade for others of you, is where you are going to be somewhere and you are going to have the opportunity to drink, have the opportunity to smoke pot, have the opportunity to do drugs of some kind, or have the opportunity to be friendly with someone else. And if you are unaware that there are kids in our school who currently do that, you will become aware soon. And I know it because I have those 8th graders who come back and talk to me on a regular basis. And part of the drawback to kids coming back and talking to me is I've realized I care about kids. It's why I do what I do. But the drawback to caring about kids is I don't get to control your life. I don't get to choose the path that you guys go on. The best I can do is try to guide you, to try to help bump you in the direction of who I want you to be. I see in front of most of you two paths, a dark path and a light path, a path of goodness and a path of darkness. And I say that because of the past students who have come to see me. I've had so many past students talk to me over the years that I can look at you guys and with your personalities, I can see kids who came back to talk to me who were pregnant in high school or who were dropping out in high school or who were arrested for drugs or alcohol. And I see that path in front of some of you and it scares me because that's not what you want for someone that you care about. And it's weird as I say that. I see some of you guys giving me shocked looks like this is not a thing that happens. You have to understand, I have 7th graders who have already told me this year they are on that path. This is not a thing that's out in the future. It is coming soon. I don't know why kids come and talk to me, but they do. And I know what is coming ahead of you, and it scares me. And I don't want you to be that kid that comes back and talks to me who has ruined their life. So I want to try to help guide you in some way. I don't think it would make me a good person if I didn't try to guide you in some way. I come from trauma and pain in my background. For those of you who have had Mrs. Butts already, she's hopefully told you the story of her background and what made her who she is. And it's one of those things I don't think you think of as a kid when you see teachers and you don't think about what shaped them and made them who they are, which is why I tell you about my stories about me getting arrested. But that's only a small sample of what I went through as a kid also. To give you a slight expansion, in my family, I am the most normal person in my entire family. I am the one that my parents and siblings look up to as normal. And I'm not normal at all. At no point should you look at this and think that's a normal thing, which I try to explain to my family on a regular basis. So I need you to understand that what I come from, this looks normal. This acts normal. When I was a kid, my parents divorced when I was 4, and my blood father, my dad, left, and I've never seen him in 40-some years. He left when I was 5, decided that he did not want to be part of my life, and was gone. And I was raised by my mom and my stepdad. Loved my mom and my stepdad, but it was rough. They were very good parents, but extended family was rough. For me, I grew up with alcoholism in my family. My grandparents were horrible alcoholics, where I couldn't be around them in the evening times because of how bad violence and abuse would come around them at times. My uncle was in and out of jail for drugs, alcohol, cocaine. It's how I learned about what probation was at a young age. I was abused by an outside family member from about the time I was 6 until just after junior high. I tell you that because I understand what pain and heartache and coming from trauma is. And that I think as much as I hated it when I was a kid, it's helped me find ways to connect to kids today. And so I don't want you to go through some of what I went through. I don't want you to go through what some of my students have gone through. I don't know what path is in front of all of you, but what I hope is that you guys are the kids who come back as like Camp Tecumseh counselors, where I get to brag about you and go, you see this kid? They were not this kid in 7th grade. In 7th grade, they were nowhere near this level of kid, but they've become amazing now. And I want to tell that story about you guys. But for all I know, you're going to be the high schooler that comes back and sits across from me and you tell me how your life took a different direction. I listen a lot. I pay attention a lot. When kids talk, whether to me or to each other, I listen to the conversations that happen around me, and I listen when teachers talk. I know a lot more about my students' home lives and families than I ever thought I would know. I think I know more about some of your guys' home lives than you probably think I know. And I know some of you guys have trauma in your life. I know that you guys have pain of one kind or another. And trauma comes in many different shapes. For some of you, it can be as simple as parents who are divorcing, parents who have divorced, or having to live with family members who overcrowd. Or I've had kids this year come and tell me that their parents are abusive, both physically and mentally. I've had kids who have come back to tell me that their parents don't talk to them, that they go home and their parents treat them as if they don't exist. I don't know what all of your traumas are, but I know there is trauma out there, and I know there are struggles out there. The struggles we have in life shape who we are. And when I look at you guys, and I see some of the trauma that you've had, and I see these two paths, not every kid has two paths of equal width. For some of you, I don't worry a whole lot. I think your good path is very wide. As in, I don't think that you're going to stumble to the dark path. I could be wrong. Everybody has two paths in front of them. And for some people, the trauma in your life has not happened yet that is going to bump you to that dark path. And I honestly used to think I could look at a kid and know. I could watch them for a year in my class and know which kids had trauma, which kids struggled, which kids had bad home lives. And I'm wrong. I've now learned I do not know which kids have struggles at home and which kids are dealing with things and which kids aren't. And it's part of why I give this conversation today, because I don't know which kids need to hear it. If you've seen like 8th graders who come back and talk to me, a lot of times those 8th graders were not ones that I connected with in 7th grade. They weren't ones that were the ones that came up and talked to me all the time in 7th grade. It was because of conversations we had in class at the end of the year, or the conversation that I have today, where I find out some of the struggles that kids have that I was unaware of. And for some of you, with these paths, they're equal. And I see the fact that your dark path and your light path are, and you could go either way. They were equal in size, and I don't know which way you're going to go. I don't know if you're going to choose goodness or if you're going to choose to fall into that pain. And that's what I hope to help you with today. But for some of you, I know your dark path is wide. I know that is the path that you are trying to go down. That there are choices in front of you, or there are decisions that you have made, or there are things that you have decided to do, or that you will soon choose to do, that is that darkness. And I worry, because I don't want that to be you. Sorry, I keep trying to figure, I keep watching the clock to see how much time I have. When we're kids, it's easy to assume that everybody's home life is like yours, because that's what we do. It's human nature. And some of you guys have really good home lives. You have a home where your parents tell you that they love you, they hug you, they feed you every night, they tell you that you are the greatest thing in the world, and they are there to support you. And if that is the home life that you have, that is wonderful, and that is awesome. But you have to also realize not every kid has that. Not every kid has a home life where that happens. And that there are kids who I have on our team this year who have come to tell me that they are scared to death of Friday. Because Friday we don't have school. And the last thing they want is to be home. Because their home is not a place of happiness. their home is not a place of sadness, or it's not a place of goodness, and it is a place of sadness. I have kids who have told me that they spend the entire summer in their room for fear of interacting with their parents, and the fact that their parents yell at them, make them feel like crap, and make them feel awful. What I need you guys to understand, and a thing that took me too long as a human to understand, is not everyone's home life is like yours. Whether your home life is good or bad, that's the thing that you are going to be becoming aware of in this next year. Over the course of between now and you going to high school, you will start to become aware of other kids and how their home lives are, whether it's better than yours or worse than yours. And if you are a kid who has that good home life, where you feel happy and you like being there and interacting with them is positive, that is awesome. And hold on to that. But you need to realize there are kids sitting around you who don't have that. More so, you have to understand what it's like for a kid to go through a home life like that. If you're 12 and 13 years old and your home life sucks, it puts a level of trauma and stress and pressure on you that you shouldn't have to deal with. And you're not strong enough to deal with. No kid is. It's not how you're built. And when you have that much trauma put upon you, it has to come out. And that's when you see kids who are mean to others. When you see those kids who badmouth other people, those kids who bully, because they have too much weight to carry. It is too much for them to do. And so it has to be let out in some way. I am fully aware that there are kids who do not care about school. I'm also fully aware they shouldn't care about school. When your home life sucks, why would school be important? If you can barely see tomorrow, why do you care about 8th grade? I understand that. It's why I run my room the way I do. It's why at the beginning of this class, when I was making you move back to your seats, I understand that for some kids, I am the only adult who holds them responsible for their choices. I know I have kids in my classes who do not have a parent in their home who punishes them when they do something wrong, who does not punish them when they get a detention, when they get in trouble with the teacher, when they fail a class in some way. I am aware that that happens. That's not a good thing, because it's not a sign of happiness. You are supposed to have adults yell at you. You are supposed to have adults hold you responsible for your choices. That means an adult cares about you, because disciplining a kid is work. Disciplining a kid to make you a better person is tough. You think there are kids at our school who are bad kids. They grow up. Bad kids can become bad adults. Not every parent is a good parent. I have kids who are just now coming to that realization. It sucks to be 12 and 13 and realize your parents are not good people. And I have kids who are coming to that realization that their parents are not good people. And that's a thing that they have to grow past and get stronger than. For I have kids in my rooms that I am the only adult that holds them responsible. I have kids that I am the only adult who tells them I care about you. I have kids that I am the only adult who punishes them when they do something wrong. I don't punish any of you because I hate you. I don't punish any of you because I don't like you. It's just the opposite. I punish you because I care. I punish you because I see goodness in you, and I need you to see that goodness in you. What I worry about is next year, high school, when you get to a point in your life when there is no adult telling you that you have done something wrong and punishing you for that poor choice. When that happens, you have to be the own adult in your life. You have to be the adult that holds yourself responsible for your choices. But I will never abandon any of you. The reason 8th graders come back and talk to me, the reason high school kids come back and talk to me, is because I will always hold you responsible for your choices. But I also won't judge you. Ever. I don't judge. It's not how I'm wired. It's not how I'm built. When you come back, and whether you tell me that you have made honor roll even though you failed my class, I will celebrate with you and I will hug you. When you come back and tell me that your parents have kicked you out of the house and you don't know where to go, I will be there with you and I will hug you. Because I will always be an adult that is there to support you. Because I know I have kids who don't have that support in their life. It's the way I run my class. The reason I moved you guys today was because I feel I need to keep holding you responsible for your choices all the way up to the end. I'm aware today's our last day together. I'm aware tomorrow's the last day of school, but it's why I keep doing what I do. The reason I switched and let you guys go back to your seats, and it's what I had to contemplate there for a moment, is because I like you a lot. You guys are a good class. I know we've had issues. I know we've had things where you guys screw around with each other and make fun of each other, but you truly are good kids. I've had rough classes. I've had bad kids. You guys aren't that. You guys are screw around. You guys are goofy at times, but I don't hate you. And I don't want you guys to ever think I did or I do. Some of you in here might think that we've not connected, that I've connected to other kids in class, but there's no necessary connection to who you are because you're quiet or you're outgoing or whatever it may be. But you have to realize that is not my choosing. I will happily connect to any kid that gives me that opportunity to do so. I don't think you guys have seen me be mad this year, be angry. You've not seen me yell at kids. That is by choice. I don't want you guys to think I don't have emotions. I joke about it, but I also joke about the fact that I don't care about you. And I hope throughout the course of this year you've realized that that's not true. I have emotions. I do get angry. I do get mad. But in class, it's more disappointed that you guys give in to some of your choices than it is being mad at you. I've taught long enough. I know 7th graders are supposed to screw up and make mistakes. Every kid is supposed to screw up and make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. I just told you about 3 of my biggest mistakes. Making a mistake, screwing up, that's okay. The issue is, do you learn from it? Do you keep making the same mistakes over and over again? Or do you make a mistake and learn from that mistake? I used to give in to my anger when I taught. My first few years, I would yell at kids, and I would make them cry. And I had an evil side to me. It's why kids called me Kyvor. As nice as I could be just as evil. As caring as I could be just as cruel. And I realized that did not make me a good teacher. Hurting kids didn't make them better people. And kids don't act out because they're awful. Kids act out because they don't know how to handle what's happening in their life. So I choose to not yell. I choose to not be mean. I could, but I choose not to. One of the toughest things I've had to learn as a human and a teacher is the people who need your love the most deserve it the least. What I mean is the people who need you to be nicest to them will be awful to you. The people who need you to be a good person to them will treat you like trash because that is what they know. and that is what they understand. But if you return anger and hatred with anger and hatred, it doesn't make the world a better place. One of the toughest things you will ever have to do is be nice to those people who are mean to you. When you have kids, Gesundheit, who are awful to you, when you have kids who bully you, when you see those kids who are jerks to you, the toughest thing you will ever do is be nice to them and return their awfulness with niceness. It's not easy. They are not going to say thank you. They're not going to appreciate it. But it's what you have to do to be a better person in this world. I don't like the adults who run our world. I don't think some of them are the best people. I want them to be replaced with better people. You guys are those better people. I want you guys to be the generation that helps make things better. Part of that comes from you guys turning to kindness as opposed to turning to awfulness. When you have the opportunity to be mean and awful to someone else, choose not to. It's not easy, and I know you're going to want to give into it because when you're hurting, it is easy to hurt other people. But try to choose to be nice to others when you can. I know this year I have played different roles for different kids. For some of you in here right now, this conversation probably has very little impact on you. And it surprises you that it has an impact on any kids at all. And I'm fine with that because I don't know which kids this will have an impact on. If you were a kid that was in my class this year, and for me, or for you, I was just that happy, funny teacher that made you laugh and made you enjoy English or helped relieve stress a little bit, that is awesome. And I am happy, and that is why I went into teaching. But for others of you, that's not the role I served. I have learned, for some kids, I'm a safe place where they can be, and they can be happy, and they don't have an adult who yells at them, and they don't have kids who will make fun of them. It's why I push that so hard in my class, to not have you guys attack each other. Even when you're joking around with it, I want my room to be a place where people feel comfortable, where people feel welcomed, where people don't feel judged. Because I know some kids need that. Because there are kids out there who don't have that anywhere. Because home is not that place, and other teachers are awful to them. And I want them to have some place where they can come and find happiness. If my room was that for you, that's awesome. I'm so glad I was able to play that role for you. Others of you, I played therapist because I had to listen to things that bothered you, and you needed someone to talk to. You needed someone that you could unload some of that stress on. And if that was the role I played for you, that is awesome also. Others of you, I was the adult in your life because you don't have an adult who is doing the things adults should. And I played that role. And I know for some of you, at times you hated me, at times you were mad at me, at times you were frustrated with me. But that's how it's supposed to work. Because you're not supposed to like people all the time. It's okay if you hate me. It's okay if you get angry with me. What's important is, I don't feel that way towards you. Others of you, you won't have today's conversation have meaning for you for another year, 2 years. It might be not until sometime in high school. It might not be till someday a thing happens and all of a sudden this conversation comes back to you in some way. And if it does, I hope it helps. If today didn't help you at all and you just sat and politely listened, I appreciate that also. I'm very kind of you to let other kids listen. But I will tell you this. If you ever need to reach out and talk, whether it is in person, after school, through email, reach out and I will listen. I can't fix all your problems. I can't solve everything, but I will listen. I have never turned away a kid. I will never not respond to you. I will never not reply to an email or message you send. If you ever say that I need to come talk, I will find a way for you to come talk to me. Because I know for some kids, they can't talk to their parents because their parents are part of the problem. They can't talk to their friends for fear of their friends judging them. And all they have is the stuff pent up inside of them that they don't know how to deal with. And it is anger, it is hatred, and it is negativity that is overwhelming them. And if you need someone to listen, I will be that one that is happy to listen to you. To end on a happy note, let me say this. I want you guys to become the best version of you that exists out there. So I ask you, what is stopping you from becoming the version of yourself that you want to be? Are you worried about what other kids are going to say? Are you worried about a kid making fun of you? Do you have that kid in the hallway who looks at you and goes, when they see you? Here's my question. Why do you care? Why do you give weight to what some other kid says? Why do you let somebody else stop you from being who you want to be? It took me way too long to figure that out. I want you to figure out who you want to be quicker than I did. Paint your toenails rainbow colors. Be the person that has different colored hair. Do I get made fun of by other teachers and kids? Absolutely. Do I care? Not even a little bit. Figure out who is important in your life. Figure out who are your friends. Figure out whose opinions are important to you. And you use that to determine how your life should be. Figure out who you want to be and embrace it. And do not let anyone else stop you from being that version of yourself. If there's anything you take from my room, it would be that. Well, that and be kind to other people.
Thank you.
Take off. Enjoy your day.